Oh, there they are. There's a lil Smokey.
That's my family. Yeah, bumping up to 198 weight class. Nice. So I've been competing in the 165s, 181s, and I've done 198 before.
Go up to 220, and then we'd have to call it ballooning up. Yeah. That's what it would be called, because your face would be so big.
So awesome. I'm sitting at 200 now, and 220 does look pretty appealing. Yeah, I was making a plate, and my grandpa made a comment, and I was like, holy shit, I'm pretty fat. Like it like hit you. It's like, wow,
if he thinks I'm fat.
Yeah, like if the person that's supposed to love you unconditionally and make you feel comfortable flat out tells you, go, maybe I do have a problem. It was so taboo that I just was like, oh, that's weird. I can't imagine all these people in this 300-page muscle development magazine that I get every month, all of them are on steroids. Like, that's not right? Because they're promoting this protein or this hydroxycut or whatever it might be. So that was right. I started at 34 with a pretty strong base. Like, I can't imagine. I do not regret getting on 34. I am so happy I waited. I don't know why I would hop on so young. Like, hopping on at 20 just seems very silly to me, because then you're putting a lot of eggs in that basket.
So now that you have seen the other side of things, like being on testosterone, has that skewed a little bit of like your perception of like a majority of like fitness-based people?
Smokey, through all the years I've known this man, has always said, I think Nsima's on drugs.
If you look better than me, or if you lift more than me in anything, you're on drugs.
Thanks, Greg.
But no, to be honest, Nsima, like, I've known you long enough. I still question you're doing drugs.
There's only so many things that can even get recommended, or that Marek Health even has access to. Like, they don't have access to Trenbolone.
No, which is not. Yeah, we have over 600 different prescription treatment options actually for a provider to pick from.
Anything from stuff to alter your prolactin to Cialis, Viagra, testosterone.
Yeah. You suggested me some low dose Cialis. I'm thanking you for that.
I think I said high dose. I always looked at steroids, or let's put under testosterone, as the deep end, the really far end. So I never saw that there was like a more pulled back, healthier reserved option. I didn't even know that existed. I just thought when you get on, you're getting on an actual cycle.
You're either in the kiddie pool or you're going off a 10-meter dive.
You're either in or you're in the way. And I'm choosing to be in the way. And so I didn't realize there was another way. And
some of the people around us, it wasn't always great. Some people don't see the kind of like dark side. I mean, people have anger issues, and when you get into a gym that's competitive, where people are all prepping for a contest, things get a little weird, and you see the attitudes and the acne and the.
It all makes sense now.
And the bloody
At the time, it didn't make sense.
And the bloody noses and stuff. Like, it's
memories.
Not all.
It's just all these memories.
It's not all good,
Hey guys, I want to tell you about Marek Health, the premium telehealth clinic owned by Derek from More Plates, More Dates. Now, when some people think about Marek Health, they think it's just another one of those testosterone companies or another one of those blood work companies. But Marek Health is really cool because, you can get your blood work done, you can get hormone optimization, but you can also get nootropics. You can also get Viagra. You can get literally whatever you need from that clinic. And they make it very, very easy for you. That's why we love Marek. So, Andrew, how can people learn about it?
Yes, Marek Health is not just a one-trick pony, but if you did want to get your labs done, we highly recommend the Power Project panel. That's 28 different labs. That's also going to come with a client care coordinator that's going to give you a lab analysis, and they're going to work with you and help you optimize your body. Again, that's at marekhealth.com/powerproject. At checkout, enter promo code PowerProject to save $101 off that entire panel. Links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes.
I'm surprised, but it was interesting to hear that the only reason why Andrew's doing jujitsu is so he could beat up Smokey. And I was like,
Andrew?
I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, Smokey's great.
Well, and I did judo.
Yeah, but you're 1-0.
You've never lost a match 2-0.
I was 2-0. Thank you, Nsima. Undefeated. Judo, collegiate judo champion.
And there's no reason for anybody to test that shit.
No. Just walk away on the win. I don't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah. Just keep walking.
Yeah.
Cross the street.
Yep. 100%.
Who would try to fight you? I mean, look at you. You're so thick.
Pretty much anyone over 5'6". Yeah. Anyone taller.
Like, this guy looks pretty little.
Yeah.
Like, he's a little stocky, though.
Let's tempt him. Yeah. For
Not
sure.
A little stocky. He's very stocky.
Extra stocky now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he looks like a little Smokey.
Oh, makes sense why the name's there.
Andrew, bring up some little Smokies.
That's
the things are delicious, by the way.
So people think they hear Lil Smokey and they're like, oh, you must smoke a lot of weed. There's a story back in like, I think it was 13 or something, the Lilla Bridges. they're like, oh, you got some weed or whatever? And I was like, no, I'm short and fat.
They're like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
So bummed.
Like, you can tell us we're cool.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
We're good. Yeah.
Oh man, you know, it makes me wonder sometimes because I've been emailing you back and forth.
Yeah.
So like, am I supposed to send it Steven? Because I'm so used to sending emails to
very
Smokey.
So,
like,
the last 9 years, so I've been at Super Train Gym since 2013, August. And for the past 9 years, I can honestly say I've been called Smokey in some form more than my government name, Steven, in every capacity of my life. Friends, my wife, we were in Mexico and I was on like a bar, like a barge bar, and I'm getting her a drink or whatever, and I guess she yelled my name and I didn't hear it, and I hear Smokey and I go, who's calling my name? My wife's just staring at me. She's like, I've been calling your name 10 times.
That's amazing.
But I yell Smokey, I hear Smokey more than Steven, so.
you should just change it. Like,
I
Legally,
told my wife, I said, I'm having Steven Granzella. I told her last night. Oh, there they are. There's a little Smokey.
That's my family. Yeah. There's quite a few of us.
God, those are so good. All you got to do is throw them in some barbecue sauce.
That's it.
And they're fucking great.
my mouth
Slow
is
cooker.
watering.
Yeah, I told my wife last night, I'm like, I'm having Steven Granzella on the show tomorrow. She goes, no, she goes, you know, you don't have to have a show. You don't have to do a show like all the time.
That could be
Meaning
our
like
off day.
anything's better than having Smokey on the show. I didn't get it at first. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, he's going to be like on the show, you know?
Well, it does make sense. You had Dr. Lion on, and then saw Dr. Steffi Cohen, and then me.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
I mean, the order makes perfect sense to me.
we're getting that hockey stick projection
Yep,
going and
100%.
keeping that flow.
Yes.
You got a competition coming up in a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm doing a powerlifting competition November 12th, so about 3 weeks out, 2.5 weeks out. Bumping up to 198 weight class.
Nice.
So I've been competing in the 165s, 181s, and I've done 198 before. This will be one of my more. I guess I've done a 198.
Go up to
full power.
220 and then we'd have to call it ballooning up.
Yeah.
That's what it would be called because your face would be so big. It'd be
So I'm
awesome.
sitting at 200 now, and 220 does look pretty appealing.
Sounding promising.
It sounds like a very slippery. Well, it's slope uphill, right, in weight, but
Are you joking? Or are you serious?
so not for this meet. I'm being for this meet 198.
Yeah.
But you know, everyone has the post meet like, oh, after this meet I'm gonna get shredded, or after this meet I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z, and no one ever does what they say they're gonna do. But I'm like, maybe I put on 20 pounds and hopefully 5 is muscle. I don't know. Maybe it'd be a good
In true
good plan.
powerlifting fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on a bulk.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be dedicated.
How long have you been lifting, man?
So I started lifting in high school. As you can imagine, I was a really terrible football player. And just was doing that, just trying to have fun and like
You're
fit.
pretty fast from what I remember.
Yeah, I ran pretty fast 40 but again, being a smaller guy, football you just get smacked, destroyed. So, and you have to be really smart in football, to be honest. I played inside linebacker, which doesn't make any sense, and so there's a few people ahead of me, as you can imagine. But I enjoyed the lifting part, mainly the curls and the accessory stuff. I wasn't a big fan of the cleans, and I was a little bit more addicted to the bench press, as I'm sure you guys are very surprised, as I do enjoy the bench press. But it was just for fun. It was nothing too, overly serious. It was just a thing you were forced to do because we were in football practice. And then a few years went by, and you get into college, and your grandpa says you're fat. And so you make a lifestyle change.
That was a good story, dog. You gotta tell that shit again.
He told you flat out?
Yeah. So we were at Hanukkah. It was December 2006. I was actually right before I was about to head to Israel, which there's a lot of Jewishness I know going on right now. Yeah, don't attack me. I was like I was making a plate, and my grandpa made a comment, and I was like, holy shit, I'm pretty fat. Like it like hit you. It's like,
Like if
wow,
he thinks I'm fat.
Yeah, like if the person that's supposed to love you unconditionally and make you feel comfortable flat out tells you, maybe I do have a problem. So got back from Israel, and just like most college kids, start carrying a gallon jug of water, putting swole juice on it, the whole shtick that people do now, and try to get my chicken and rice and go to Max Muscle and get the latest and greatest sups, and God, probably spent, I don't know, several $100s a month on protein and
Pre-workout.
Oh yeah, like just try every Explode or any pre-workout product that existed. So yeah, that's how I got into fitness, and it really just progressed from there. And and then fast forward, Bigger, Stronger, Faster came out, and I saw that a few years later and watched it, and I was just purely entertained by it. Like, it wasn't anything like about the steroid aspect or the powerlifting part. It was just, I don't know, I just genuinely thought it was entertaining and just felt comfortable. Like, wow, these people like to lift. I have nothing in common per se with what their goals are. I mean, they're significantly larger than me. And then obviously found out about you and just kind of progressed from there.
What did you think about steroids or performance enhancing drugs when you were on the other side of it years ago?
Yeah, so I didn't have, flashback to, maybe pre-super training gym, I legitimately was the guy that would look at Jay Cutler on the cover of Bodybuilding magazine and go like, I don't know, is he on steroids? Like, I didn't fully grasp.
Just maybe didn't even think of it?
Yeah, it was so taboo that I just was like, oh, that's weird. I can't imagine all these people in this 300-page muscle development magazine that I get every month, all of them are on steroids. Like, that's not right? Because they're promoting this protein or this hydroxycut or whatever it might be. So I legitimately, in my early 20s had zero concept or clue who was on or what it meant. And then fast forward and you go into a gym or you go into, people that are dedicated to, being top tier, top level, and you find out and it was kind of a surprise. It was shocking, to be honest.
And now you work for Marek Health. Right?
Yeah. So now I work for Marek Health, which, yes, in the scheme of things being, optimal or hormone optimization, testosterone, but it's on a different spectrum, right? It's like someone, consuming a gallon of beer a day versus maybe like a glass of beer a day to be more on a healthier level. And that's a bad analogy in terms of what it is, but just in terms of the quantity.
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to say, so now that you have utilized some performance enhancing drugs, what are your thoughts? Like, did you think they would do more for you? Did you think that they would do less? Are you surprised at what they can do for you? Have you noticed? You've always been like a motivated guy. You don't have any issues in the gym here. Like, you're always fired up.
Yeah.
You're always in there making noises, even before you started any of this other stuff. So have you noticed any like big, huge differences, or, do you wish they kind of did more for you?
Yeah, so a little backstory. So joined Super Training Gym 2013, and I can honestly say that's where I really finally got into fit. Like, of course I lifted 6-7 days a week, but it wasn't what it is when I joined Super Training Gym. Obviously, the knowledge part was a huge aspect. I mean, I would max out on everything every day.
You and
every
Lauren,
movement.
right?
Yeah, I mean, my buddy Lauren. We would max out. And I mean, it just lifted not properly. So I can just say for the past 9 years, I've been actively, powerlifting. And with that, I got fairly strong. I benched, 418 and 418, squatted 551, and deadlifted 563.
At what weight?
At 181 and I think 198 for the deadlift and squat. But yeah, bench 418 at 181. But that was 6 years ago I did that. Yeah. So I went from making pretty much feeling maxed out on my progress. Like you said, I generally love lifting. Like I do like it. It's the highlight of my day. I enjoy it. I like the team atmosphere. It's a huge part of my life. I just am not the guy that goes, oh, damn it, I have to bench or squat today. That's not me. Mm-hmm. So yes, putting all my effort into it, getting on TRT a little over a year ago. So getting on testosterone, 150 milligrams. I did hope and thought it was going to be a huge transition. So taking my total test levels from 600 to 1100, it took a little bit of time for me to feel the benefits, but I did feel like you meant. I went in like, oh, I'm going to add 50 pounds on my bench press, or I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And I've gotten a little bit stronger, but I also reflect, it took me 9 years and it took me like 5 years of not making like any progress to finally make progress within 6 months or a year. So it has improved dramatically, but at the same time, not as much as I'd hoped.
What do you think you were expecting?
I don't know, to get all to look like you and Mark. So, you're around all these freaks and being at Super Train Gym and working at Slingshot for all those years, like I'm around the best of the best. And so you have these expectations that you're going to look and feel, on this whole other level. But it's just like any form of training, right? People come into powerlifting and they max out on week 2 and they're like, I haven't gotten any stronger. It's like, it's been 2 weeks. Like you're not going to get. So it's the same kind of thing. So I've been, like I said, it's been over a year on TRT, and I have gone lifts. So like my bench press, for instance, went from 418 to I benched 430 in the gym. So that is an improvement, and that improvement didn't happen for 6 years. So that is a pretty solid improvement in a matter of 6 months.
What does it feel like? Because you didn't have like shitty test levels. You weren't at like 200, 300. You were at a good 600.
When you've been thick, you've had muscle.
Yeah, you've been a thick boy. What does it feel like to go from 600 to 1100? Like, how do you feel on a day-to-day basis? Is there drastic differences, or is it? Yeah, what's it like?
So Huberman talked about this on your guys' podcast, but it like affects your life in a positive way. So my just personal confidence with myself, with my relationships, at my home life, my libido wasn't bad, but like it improved. Like it went from like good to great. Your physique changes a little bit, and this is all in like very mild, like legitimate TRT dosage. It made a pretty big impact.
Some of the like fat kind of migrates up top a little bit, and you get like a little traps and a little extra in the shoulders and
fat migration.
So from someone
triceps
so someone that's natural, right? Like you spend years lifting, and before Nsima, right? So Nsima, we're the same.
They're gonna hate that I did that.
So I can't tell you, I can be honest, without dieting down 10, 15, 20 pounds, I wouldn't look at myself in the mirror and go, wow, that's a new vein. That's a new muscle. That's a new piece of muscle I have. That didn't happen without significant weight loss, which now I can literally go into the gym, have a shoulder workout, and I can literally see and feel what would have taken me almost like months or a year to
we did a photo shoot and you got in pretty damn good shape and you had some veins and everybody was sweating it and everybody thought it was pretty awesome, but it took a lot of work is your point.
Yeah, that took 6 weeks. And by all means, I have no problem putting in the work, and I'm glad I did. I didn't start TRT till I was 34. So I put in a ton of work, and I feel like I put a really good base down. I hit, like I said, my roughly max potential on my lifts. Sure. Could I be leaner? Yes. That's just dedication to my diet and making, doing more walks, running, things like that. But yeah, overall, I'm very comfortable and confident with the base that I put down.
And I'm curious about this too. We were having the discussion about like it shortcutting things. I remember you mentioned in the gym, like, oh, you wear blue blockers, you do all this shit, right?
Yeah.
So like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, you still have good habits on the outside of TRT? It's not just you're doing TRT because you're in here all the time. What else do you do?
Yeah. So again, I lift. I have Josh Bryant's my coach. I've had Jesse Burdick. I love lifting. I enjoy putting that ball in someone else's court. Otherwise, I tend to just be an idiot and just do the things I want to do, which isn't what's best for me. So I do train my ass off on that. I do 10-minute walks on a regular basis. But yeah, I'm not, I look at what you guys do and I'm not envious. Like I don't want to be barefoot running. I don't want to, and not to say that replacing with testosterone replacement therapy is going to somehow enhance your ankle mobility. But I look at all these, the sauna, blue light blockers, maybe getting, 9 hours of sleep, all these things is I want to aim for some of that stuff, but I don't want to dedicate my life too much to that. So, I definitely prioritize training. I prioritize my diet. Like 80, 90, maybe even 100% of the time, I'm very much on point with my food. But
I remember your diet. Remember when you switched from sandwiches to hamburgers? That was pretty good.
I would come in with a bag of patties. To be fair, they were 96.4 handmade hamburger patties. It just happened.
He was diligent with those hamburgers. He'd have like 2 or 3 every day.
What diet was this?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Best diet? I don't
It was no different.
The guy's a genius.
It's a vertical diet.
It's a vertical diet.
But they were just
rice.
formed into patties instead of ground up.
And a bun.
And a rice pattied bun.
Right. Truth is it?
No.
I mean, it's whatever you think it is.
You did have pickles with it. I remember you being very defensive over
Bubby's pickles.
Those are good.
Oh, yeah,
those good?
someone stole my pickles.
that. It wasn't me, but I
I
just
think it was Charlie Zamora.
definitely
Yeah,
was.
I remember that. Thank you. I'm gonna text him.
Wait, what are these pickles called? Real talk, because I
Bubbies.
love pickles. Why are they
Bubbies.
so good?
I believe they're New York. My Jewish grandma-in-law. I could learn from them from my wife. Yeah, they're delicious. They're on a whole nother level.
I think they got
From, like, a
prebiotics
deli.
in them and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're healthy.
they're good.
But to kind of go back to I reference it's like a cheat code. You know, to me injecting myself once, you know, for me a few times a week with an insulin pen. It feels like nothing. Trust me, I am not a huge. I've had 28 surgeries. I do not like needles. I do not like any of that stuff. I'm terrified of it. But it's a super simple thing for me. And so it became super simple. So for me to do that and to have the benefits of someone that may have to dedicate 30, 45 minutes of red light therapy with their testicles out.
I
or
like
getting their
red light
taint.
my balls though. Don't you? Yeah. I fucking pull that shit up and
I like brushing my teeth and then literally
Just
but tapping your shoulder and then I'm done. So that's the way I like to get my red light therapy.
fair.
You're also, you know, making sure you're sleeping well, and you're probably tracking other things from your blood work and things like that.
Oh
too, right?
yeah, no, I have a ton of. I mean, that's one of a perk also working at Marek. Not only does the clients have a medical team basically with their own patient care coordinator provider. Obviously, working there, I have access like 50 people, which is good and bad, right? It's like training. If I go to you for a tip on something,
Right.
you might get one thing, and I go to Nsima. It's like almost I'm cherry picking like what
You're
the
right,
answer I
yeah.
want. So I have to be careful about that. But luckily, it's pretty standardized. But yeah, I get blood work on a maybe 1 to 2 month basis. It really just depends on what I got going on. A lot of it for me is trial and error. So, you know, what are the results? I know the results on the outside of my body or how I feel, but I want to make sure from a health standpoint, is this detrimental in any way? Is it improving markers? What are some things I can do to maybe manipulate my TRT or other aspects of hormone optimization to improve my overall health? Because it is very much for me. I do want to get stronger. I do want to look better, but I don't want to jeopardize. For me, I don't want to like shave off 10 years of my life. So I want to do everything I can to go down the proper path.
And you also still want to have fun and have access to the things that you like to do. That you like to snowboard, and there's other shit that you like to do outside of lifting. You like to ride your motorcycle a lot, stuff like that, right?
Yeah. So I'll work that into my everything, right? I do stay on top of my food. I do stay on top of my training. So I'll just manipulate the things to make work. And I'm not perfect, and I don't, you know, I'm not stepping on stage, so I don't have to be held to that standard. But I've, you know, over the past few years, it's about enjoying life. As I've gotten older, again, I'm 35 now, so it's not like I'm speaking to anyone as like a 70-year-old who's lived. But the last few years have really hit me that we have one life. Like, that's it. That's all I got. And so I just try to enjoy it the best I can, not get too tied down in one thing, whether it's just lifting, you know, just riding my motorcycle, just snowboarding, and just trying to do the things that make me happy, but also think, okay, I'm planning on being here for 80 years, but let's see what we can do in the next couple to just really enjoy it.
with getting your labs done so frequently, so like, you know, 1 month to the next, like what are some markers that you were able to improve like very drastically in a short amount of time?
Yeah, so my GGT, my liver enzymes was one of them. That was one that was just based off of like my training, my food. I ran a bout of Accutane to improve my acne. I've had acne my whole
Your skin
adult
looks
life.
great right now.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if it's the lights or what's going on, but it's
I'm
glowing.
gonna have to bring
looks
this.
good.
But that was one I had to really keep tabs of, because that's one of the that's one of the things that you need to watch just to make sure your liver's healthy. And, you know, I don't drink at all, so that's a huge factor. That's not, you know, it's a bit like a lifestyle thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like most people that take training hardcore tend to not do other things that, you know, other people would deem as normal, like partying and drinking. Prolactin's another one. So I've had over-the-counter supplementation. Good and bad.
I'm sorry,
thing.
what did you do for your liver?
Liver was, I just checked markers. Maybe I lowered some of my Accutane at some moments when it spiked too much. But for the most part, I processed it very well, or handled it very well. I didn't have like a huge spike in it. So that was something I was able to do.
Over-the-counter supplements for that people can maybe look into?
That's what I want to dive into too. So that's the pro and con to working at Marek. So I have so many people in my corner that I haven't spent the time learning as much of the stuff, because it's like, oh, I'll just ask Mark for training advice. I don't need to learn like why. So yes, there is supplements that I was put on, literally over the counter supplements.
Yeah.
So not everything's just prescription. It's legitimate. Just
I think one is Tudca, right? Like TUDCA, right? It's supposed to be real popular, or supposed to really help your liver. And then my understanding is like people can, just even your average person can get some good benefits from this. Not even somebody that's on TRT, but somebody that just wants their liver to be a little healthier. My understanding is that just taking like one capsule a day is pretty safe in general as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing with a lot of the supplements. It's almost endless. You could literally have 100 different supplements we could all take, and it's just never ending. So it's just, and to me, it's like a pill. It's the same kind of thing. Like, do I want to make sure I eat 6 ounces of salmon every day, or would I rather just take this fish oil supplement, that can counter it? So it's the same concept. And then prolactin was one that when I started, before I even worked at Marek, when I was working here, where prolactin was through the roof, I actually made some dietary adjustments. One of the doctors recommended I ditch casein protein. I was just chowing down on casein protein every night. I'd make yogurt and casein protein for like 2 years straight.
Such a bro like us. Yeah. It's a good thing.
And so he's like, let's ditch the casein protein. And sure enough, it dropped. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was a huge thing.
Okay.
And that can have like sensitive nipples. I mean,
did you have sensitive nipples?
I did have sensitive nipples. My prolactin was so high, they were like, you might have a tumor in your like pituitary gland. So I actually got an MRI. That was another thing. They were like, you need to go see a doctor, like legitimately in person, and get an MRI. And so I got an MRI, and all is good.
Yeah.
But that could be something why prolactin could be so elevated.
Let me ask you this, because a lot of guys, for example, you get to 1100, you feel good.
Yeah.
So then what stops you from being like, what's 2000 feel like?
No, that's great. And that was honestly one of the reasons why it took me a while to get into this, because I'm a very like all or nothing guy. That's also why I don't drink.
Yeah,
right?
we've talked about it a bunch, and you're like, do you come off it or what? I'm like, no. You just keep going with it.
Well, so I get that part. That I can argue. That part I don't see why you would get off at this point. Well, and it's only 1 year in, and I don't want to get off. So I get that part.
Y'all see? Okay, good.
Yeah, and we'll dive into that part. But,
okay.
But yes, in terms of chasing the 2000, for me, and this is why it took me to working at Marek to really let it hit. So obviously, being in the industry for a while, there's tons of people in our circle that I could get testosterone from and get, a recommendation. I had a feeling that recommendation would have been like 250 or 500 milligrams of test per week.
Is that a lot?
Yes, that'd be like an actual cycle. I'm sure in a lot, it's like a nothing cycle to a lot of people. I'm sure they're like, oh, that's like
it's a wonderful place to start.
Yeah, that's a very common response for a lot of people.
250, you can still claim natty if you're on 250.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Guys, these are jokes.
But I literally started I literally started Marek on a Sunday in Colorado, and I went and visited. I met with one of our doctors and one of the owners. I went to the pharmacy, and by Thursday I was on TRT, because I was just like, holy shit, like this is legit. Like I have a doctor overseeing me. I have lab panels. This is coming from a full on like air blowing your uniform to go into a pharmacy out. Like this was on a whole crazy level that I didn't even think existed. I was so confident with like, okay, I'm putting all my trust in you, Marek, to make sure that I'm doing this to optimize my health, to improve myself, to reach my goals, but at a safe level and a safe method.
Okay.
But
the 2000 thing.
So I'm basically saying, I'm refraining from that because I'm like, okay, I want to do this healthy.
Yeah.
I don't want to see all my lipids go to complete shit. I don't want to make sure my liver enzymes going bad. I don't want to get like a calcium score, and go, wow, I really regret doing X, Y, and Z. I don't want that stuff to happen. So that's for right now. I will never speak in absolutes for everything, but that's for the moment that I'm definitely pursuing not going that route.
And did you have to like start at a certain level and then kind of taper down once your labs came back in, or have you been at the same level the whole time?
So mine's fluctuated. So again, with the needle things, I'm not a huge fan. So I started with cream. So I did cream on my inner thighs. Usually people can put on their taint or their testicles, but it messes with their DHT levels. And I have hair loss in both my grandparents. And I was like, I really just want to keep my hair as much as possible, and putting it on your testicles can cause your hair to come out. So I put on my inner thigh. Not a huge fan. Like, I don't know if you've messed with it, but like you got to like basically shower, sit there, legs open for like an hour.
An hour.
I mean, roughly. You just got to wait for it to dry.
Wow.
You can't have anybody touch you in an area that you want to be touched. So it was just kind of a pain. So it was shortly after that I went on to injectable. And my levels have fluctuated. So I think I've gone from, 1,100 to 1,400. And sometimes there's been limited minimal changes.
Hearing this progression has been really wonderful.
Because we've been
hearing
training
about it in the gym, and he's like, "Oh, I've got some cream." I'm like, "This is so good." It started with the BPC and some of that stuff.
It did, yeah.
A while back, I'm like, "These are all the gateways." I'm like, "He's on his way. Finally, my little boy is gonna like go for it."
There's a video that
and become someone great.
Yeah, there's a video we posted where we were kind of talking about this, and so many people were like, "These fucking juice heads are justifying their drug use," and it's just so funny. It's talking about gateways. It's great.
I think it was 2014 or 13. I think I was talking to Mark. We were at the like 3 gyms ago, and I forgot how drug testing came up, but I made a comment like, "Oh, you got to be drug tested to train here," whatever, as in like not be on anything. And you're like, "Yeah, to make sure you're on stuff." Like if you're not on steroids.
I always wanted to sit on top of the monolift with like a blow dart and just like hit people in the neck as they came in.
Yeah.
Be like, "You're not natty anymore, bitch."
Yeah.
So good.
But it never happened. We never could figure out the dart quite the way I wanted
you just
to.
kept
figure that
darting
out.
yourself.
Somebody's like, "No."
So I wanted to ask about like the fluctuating things, because like, did you notice a difference when it was like at 1,100 versus 1,400? Because everybody's always like, like the question Nsima asked, like, well, if 11's good, then 14 must feel even better, right?
Yeah, so I've been working with my providers to adjust. So this powerlifting meet, right? So I've ranged from 150 to 175, 200 milligrams a week. For short bursts. So we'll just, and again, that's why I'm also checking labs. I've had, in the more recent months, I thought my levels would have been like really high because of how well my strength has been and how I look and everything. And they're actually on the lower, they're like that 1,200 mark when I thought I'm like, oh, they're going to be at like 1,500, but they're at 1,200. So it's kind of a weird mind game too. Cause then you're like, wait, they're at 1,200. But I should be like, I thought I'd be at like 1,500, but I do feel well. So it's a weird thing because you're looking at the paper, but at the same time, it's like, well, what actually matters, right? How strong you are, how you feel.
There's so many other hormones at play. And then there's also like your free testosterone. And there's also, I have a kind of belief or theory that like you use some of it up, almost the way you would use up some blood glucose. And I know some people would be like, that's crazy, but I think that's why someone that trains really hard, their levels will be low. So maybe someone like Nsima gets tested and his testosterone maybe isn't like through the roof, but it's like he's doing jujitsu, he's lifting. Like we see this a lot with a lot of people that run and people that do like hybrid multiple sports type thing.
And I don't want to get hung up on the numbers either, because like I was at 600 and I felt pretty good, but I just feel way better more. I would be happy if I had the feeling of now at 600. And maybe, to be honest, for someone that was like a legitimate like 100 milligram total, who's just in the an 80-year-old man, maybe at 600 they do feel how I feel now.
Oh, and who knows? Maybe even raising your actual testosterone score on the paper, maybe it's not that significant.
Yeah.
So maybe if you just had a little TRT dose and just got a little extra, 50 or 100 over what you had before, maybe that would make you feel good enough.
Yeah, and less is more. I mean, you've said it a bazillion times, and it's been true for me so far. But it's been an experience. I'm very new to it. I'm not claiming to be like the biggest expert in it. I've just learned a lot from a lot of people just being in the industry now for a while.
Do you know, like, actually, I don't even know if you're not able to say, fine, but I'm just curious, like.
That's never a good preference.
I'm just curious about like the age range of people that you notice getting on TRT, because one thing we mentioned, like some older people, 50, 60, 70, whatever, makes sense. But do you notice, are the younger people's trying or starting to get on TRT? Is that something that's prevalent? I'm just curious.
Yeah, people will definitely come to Marek in the younger age. I mean, the co-owner is Derek from More Plates, More Dates, so his audience can be on the younger side, or some of them, obviously. with just being YouTube. So we will get people, come to us and we'll basically help them with lifestyle changes. We're working on almost transitioning to the health coach position instead of a patient care coordinator, because it truly is just a total health optimization from every aspect. So whether it's lifestyle, nutrition, supplementation, and there are prescription treatment options that can raise testosterone or improve biomarkers that isn't testosterone. So
like what? I'm kind of curious.
Enclomiphene, I believe, is one of them that's pretty common. There's HCG that people will get on to improve markers.
I'm just talking to people about their diet and their sleep. I mean, they're not committing to that part of it, right?
So that was right. I started at 34 with a pretty strong base. Like, I can't imagine. I do not regret getting on at 34. I am so happy I waited. I don't know why I would hop on so young. Like, hopping on at 20 just seems very silly to me, because then you're putting a lot of eggs in that basket that just doesn't seem to be that fruitful. Like I said, like, I've seen improvement in the past year. Overall, I feel great. It's been a huge improvement, but it's not like I have a 6-pack now and my lifts have skyrocketed. So if that's what you're going to expect, then that might not be quite the case.
It's also a different decision too. That's we're talking about somebody that made this decision to use performance enhancing drugs to go on cycles.
That's true. There are differences.
Different than HRT and TRT. And you're not going to get, not from Marek Health, you're not going to get them to prescribe 800 milligrams of testosterone along with some equipoise and along with some oral steroids. Like, it doesn't work that way.
No, but we will work with people, and not putting like an age on it, but we will work with bodybuilders that do come on that on legitimate cycles, and we'll help them with risk mitigation. So whether it's heart medication, blood pressure, we'll help them with that. It's like, hey, you're on this X, Y, and Z. This is a non-judgmental place, but we need to help you get to this competition.
I heard the list of things you said you're taking, but here's what we think you should do to offset some of that.
Yeah, exactly.
And the contest is over.
And when the contest is over, let's reevaluate and let's get you healthy, and we'll work with a lot of people on that. And that's been a huge plus for us. A lot of people feel very confident, comfortable coming to us. Because I don't know, I mean, we've all gone to doctors and having that in-person doctor, like, oh, I'm on this, or I smoked weed when I was 15, or it just gets super uncomfortable.
They're like, and they write it down.
I remember going to the doctor in my early 20s, and he's like, are you on steroids? I was like, no. He's like, are you sure? You can tell me.
Are you sure?
No.
He's like, you are on it. He like wouldn't let you off the hook, huh?
You wouldn't.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So now that you have seen the other side of things, like being on testosterone, has that skewed a little bit of like your perception of like a majority of like fitness space people being natty or not? Like, has like the like seeing that, like, oh, I put this needle in me and I don't have a 6-pack shredded and I'm not like stronger like overnight. Has that changed a little bit of your perception as far as like, oh, maybe Nsima is natty? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just using him just to pick on him, but like, has that changed?
That's a great question. So my rule of thumb, if anybody's stronger or more jacked than me, they're not natural. That's
Smokey, through all the years I've known this man, has always said, I think Nsima's on drugs.
If you look better than me, or if you lift more than me in anything, you're on drugs.
Thanks, Greg.
But no, to be honest, Nsima, like, I've known you long enough. I still question you're on drugs, but I will believe you. But so to me, I guess it actually just says genetics play a much greater role than drugs. Well, and when I say drugs, I'm saying like TRT dosage. Like, I do feel if I took, maybe this is reaching, a substantial amount of steroids for a good period of time, I would give you a run for your money as you being natural.
Okay.
But no, it is hard to believe that there aren't a lot of people that aren't on something like one way or
makes
another.
Sense. What you're saying makes sense. Like, somebody genetically, along with the work they put in, along with their environment, they could have a cascade of hormones that are pretty optimized towards muscle growth, towards being athletic, strong, explosive, and so on. And for somebody that gets on stuff, it would be similar to as if they had a life that was, a previous history to where they were, enhanced almost in some ways. Because, I mean, if you look at it, there's a lot of people that can go and get their blood work tested and their growth hormone will be high, their IGF-1 will be high, their testosterone will be high. All these things, all these markers that we talk about all the time that you want high, they could just naturally be high, and it could have to do with some genetics along with the environment, along with the food they ate when they were young. There's like such a huge amount of factors. So like, what does that look like? You know, what does that look like when somebody becomes 30, 35 and they've had a lot of training under their belt? What does it look like when that person does take some performance enhancing drugs? Do they, you know, turn into like Ronnie Coleman, for example? You know, it seems like Ronnie Coleman waited a pretty long time in his lifting career. I think he was lifting for over a decade before he took stuff, and then he became fucking Ronnie Coleman. So there's a lot of different genetics out there, and genetics are a huge component of it. And there's really not anything that you can take at the moment that seems like it can match up or make up for how far behind somebody might be when someone has great genetics. Along with, again, we got to say that environmental part of it, because the person's previous history matters a lot.
Yeah. I remember about 4 or 5 years ago, I had blood work done. I shot over to Effortine, and my IGF-1 was so high, he asked me if I was on growth hormone, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I was just on cloud nine. I was like, oh, Effortine thinks I'm on growth hormone? I don't even know what that is. But that is the coolest thing. But I think a lot, to add to what you said, Mark, you know, people take stuff for a short period of time and they expect everything to change. Like Nsima, you've been with your genetics, it's your genetics. So you've been, you know, you're, I think, roughly 30, 20 something, 8, 29.
30, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's 30 years of your genetics. So now let someone be on gear for 30 years or a substantial period of time to actually see some really high level
How long
results.
have you weighed like over 220?
I was 16 the first time. College, I was 215 because I played soccer. But yeah, pretty much over a decade now. Yeah.
You know, just in talking to a lot of different people over the years, as much as we would like to think that we can change, and we can change a lot, and people think they've seen big changes from me, but I've been about the same for a really long fucking time. I looked a little similar to this when I was in high school. I was a little fatter, didn't have as much muscle. Talking with Gabrielle Lyon, who's like all shredded up. She's got abs. She's got like definition in the shoulders, triceps, biceps.
Traps.
Yeah, she's looking amazing. And she was like, pretty much I've always looked this way. Even she just said like a few years before she had kids, she had some injuries and stuff, and she wasn't very fit at that time. But other than that, she's always been like in great shape and stuff like that. And just running into so many other people and in talking with different people over the years, it seems like whatever they have now, they had some aspects of it before, whether they take drugs or not. Even in the case of someone like Stan Efferding, who started out small, he started out thin, but he started out lean. Started out very, very lean. And Stan, as long as we've known him, we've never seen him. We've never seen him fat, right?
No.
So he's put on a lot of muscle and made some changes there. But again, even his body is going to want to go back to the ectomorph, the thinner person that he actually is, right?
Yeah, 100%.
What have you seen? Because I actually need to fucking get my blood work done and finish that process again. But what have you seen in terms of like people coming, getting blood work done, and some things that have been found, whether it's from some people who might have been on cycle doing shit or just people who needed to get their blood work done? What kind of change and things were found?
So I'm on the marketing side. So, you know, us being a, you know, telehealth platform, it's all HIPAA compliant. So we don't have like shared lab work like that. So, you know, if you have a patient care coordinator and a provider, like that's your team that sees your medical history in your lab. So, you know, outside of maybe a clinical that's being ran where we dive deeper into like anonymous labs or like a treatment option, I haven't personally seen anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, sorry, Mark, like HCG and a couple of other things that aren't like full blown testosterone and stuff like that. Hopefully, we don't like mess anybody's life up. But like, are there any like Anavar and like stuff like that? Is there any other steroids? I guess I'll say that are like fairly. They're not healthy, but like that are on the lower level that like is not trend, right? Because that's what everybody on fucking TikTok is just like, oh, running trend, and everyone's high-fiving each other. It's like, well, fuck, dude, maybe there's some other things out there that we can try first.
Yeah. So personally, I'm on oxandrolone, so Anavar, like pharmacy grade Anavar.
And there's only so many things that can even get recommended or that Marek Health even has access to. Like they don't have access to fucking Trenbolone.
No, which is not. Yeah, we have over 600 different prescription treatment options actually for provider to pick from. So, you might have certain markers and needs and wants and I do. So we're going to get access to different things. So,
anything from stuff to alter your prolactin to Cialis, Viagra, testosterone.
Yeah.
You suggested me some low dose Cialis. I'm thanking you for that.
I think I said high dose.
Oh yeah, well you suggested a higher dose, but I was like,
Well,
let
there's
me
no reason
start
to
off
talk
on the
about
low
that on
dose.
the show right now.
And I'm thankful, man.
Yeah.
I'm thankful. That's been nice.
Yeah, but oxandrolone. So I'm running a quote unquote cycle of it or a run of it for 6 weeks leading up to my meet, and based off of my lab work, I was able to, based off my SHBG markers, it's like, okay, we can improve these. This could help, and this will also give you a little bit of strength. And that's also why I also get follow-up labs to make sure, okay, I'm 3 weeks in, is this hurting me? Is this okay for me? Is this compromising my health? Is this something I can just deal with for 6 weeks? And so that's the big thing for follow-up labs for sure.
Yeah, and then you said pharmaceutical. So like, what's the dosage there?
So I'm on 12.5 milligrams twice a day.
Yeah,
So I split it up.
Like Jim Bro will be like, I'll start at 50 and then go up.
So exactly, or 100 milligrams. Yeah. So that's the thing too. And the good thing about, with working with pharmacies, you're getting pharmacy grade stuff. You're not getting from your gym bro who knows what it's mixed with or
Fentanyl.
how clean it is. Yeah.
And you've had opportunity to see some of the labs?
Yeah. I've got to tour one of our pharmacies, which is it's really sweet. Like, it's a really cool experience. It's very just comforting. And when you hear of a compounding pharmacy,
They pat you down when you left. They're like, Smokey, empty your bag.
Like,
Like,
dude,
holy fuck.
Your
You guys
pockets are
missing it. I don't even know
full.
what I just took stuff. I don't even know what I took. No. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So we were in Colorado, and it was just
Accidentally
it was a
fall
great
into a
experience.
vat. Like, oh, fuck, I slipped.
Just start drinking.
What about for the ladies? Is a practice like this, is this for ladies as well?
Yeah, so actually over 10% of our clientele is women. So they're expanding more and more. We help with premenopausal women. A big one is libido. So we have a lot of different peptides treatment options like PT141.
Gotta get these women going, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's a big one. Libido's a big one. Hair loss prevention. There's a lot of just HRT.
Because the worst thing is you can do is to take Viagra or Cialis and then
not have someone to use it with.
yeah, they just look at you like,
That happens every once in a while. You don't time things right.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
You're just sitting there with a boner. You gotta beat it down. Give it a beat down.
Careful, Nsima.
Let's talk about the Cialis for a second. So when you
Be
mentioned
careful
Cialis
during the
to me-
bench and sweatpants.
Yeah, when you mentioned Cialis to me, why? So what's the benefit of it in the first place for a guy who's like interested in using some Cialis? Because what's the benefit?
So tadalafil, I take 5 milligrams a day of tadalafil in the morning.
Watch out, everybody.
It's sleeping right now, and it's not like that. And that's the thing too. It's you have to be obviously in the mood for something to just happen.
But when you're in the mood, hey now.
Well, you've talked about with the blood, was it heart health? It improves, and so it's just something that helped just keep the flow going. And then in addition to pumps, I mean, it's like I mainly like it because of the pumps I get when I work out.
Yeah,
I mean that's kind of a weird.
I think,
Kind of-
and I could be way off, but I think initially these drugs were made for blood pressure, I believe. So
Restrictive.
they can help they can
Yeah,
help
yeah.
lower your blood pressure. So some people might, you should definitely go to a doctor before you go and fuck around with some of these things.
Yeah, and so at Marek, actually, we require a physical. So people have to actually go get their blood pressure checked and make
You
sure
do
they're
not
good
want
to
your
health.
blood pressure fucking taking a nosedive. It will
No.
feel terrible.
Yep. And then sildenafil, so that would be the one that would be like more in the moment, right?
Like, we're about to go.
Yeah, maybe a half hour before. You can pop that, and that's a little bit more instant. Yeah.
And it's always been nice because I've been using like I think 2.5 milligrams, not every day, just sometimes, and it's been nice because it's not like the dick works,
Yeah.
but it just works better.
Yeah.
It's just like it's
Get
great.
angry like you're 15.
Yeah,
Like, damn, I haven't seen him working like this in a while.
Well, think about all the Viagra commercials, 5, 10 plus years ago.
Yep.
You just think, oh, it's an old person problem. And it's, again, it's not a problem. It's optimization. Like, it's just more optimized.
Yeah.
It just-
I never had a problem.
Yeah. I don't have one either.
No. No one ever does, right?
we're all just trying to lay better pipe. That's all.
Just life's goal.
Leave your mark.
It's a good shirt.
When you're in the gym training, you train really intensely. Like you seem like really fucking love it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times when I watch you work out and it gets me fired up. I get excited over it, but I'm also thinking like, I don't want to do half of that. Like he does so much all the time. Do you feel like you do too much, or does it like that's the way you've always kind of been?
100% I do too much. And probably everything, just too much. But it becomes second nature. That's the thing. Like, I don't know if it's just because like that's my deadlift setup I've been doing for so long that it just turns into that no matter what I want to do. It's almost like I black out and just do my holler and hooting and arm waving and just there's nothing I can do to control it. But I kind of feel maybe like, I don't want to say it's adrenal fatigue, but I can see that over time, is this going to be a long-term problem of me hooting and hollering?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm not so much even talking about that because I think it's like, do whatever you got to fucking do to get through the day. You got to
look at that super low box.
535. Do whatever you got to do kind of to get through the day, but you guys just do a lot.
In terms of the training?
Yeah, and you're meticulous with it because sometimes the setups are weird, like, grabbing a certain bar and stuff like that. That's not too big of a deal, but sometimes you got to set up the rack a very specific way and set up the bench a very specific way. What's your mindset? Like, do you think is this something that came from when you were younger where you're like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it the right way. I want to make sure it's done the right way. And not only am I going to do that, I'm going to make sure all the fucking work is done because it's you and you lead a whole group of other people and they follow you and you make sure all those motherfuckers do it too.
So I look at the last 9 years and potential 10 in the future as almost like a block of my life. So we all have training blocks, right? And I'm looking at this one big giant training block. I don't know how long I'll want to or can powerlift. To be honest, super training gym has been the biggest motivator of powerlift. If and when super training goes away, I don't want to go to 24-hour fitness and solo powerlift like that. Like that would be the end probably of my powerlifting career,
Right.
So I look at it. So to me, I look at it as this is the opportunity I have to enjoy this powerlifting path with my friends, with people I like to hang out with. And I've had the opportunity to meet the best lifters in the world in this building. So it's like, why not just follow what they said? So having Josh Bryant write me out a meticulous plan with rest periods and use this bar in this way, screw it. Like, he's the man. I'm going to listen to him and just execute what he says.
He's got great advice. You got good equipment. Might as well just do what the hell he said.
Yeah, because I will get to a point where I will have to train at a 24 or at a gym or whether I move or whatever the reason may be. And then let me bullshit around with bodybuilding or just curling, whatever, limited equipment they have.
Power Project family, how's it going? Now, I want to talk to you guys about Within You supplements. This is Mark's supplement line. And the amazing thing is Mark used to be 330 pounds. He was a fat guy. So obviously this stuff tastes really damn good. But another cool thing about Within You supplements is that none of these products are white labeled. Now, what a lot of people do when they come out with their own supplement lines is they do something called white labeling. And white labeling, all that means is there's a supplement that's already out there. They take off the tag of that supplement, they put their name on it, and now it's their supplement line. Quite literally, there's nothing else like Within You supplements out there because Mark formulated these supplements with other individuals that he knows within the industry, like Joel Green, who we've had on this podcast. So you guys should check out Within You. We have amazing whey protein, electrolyte supplements, we have fasting gum, and many other things on the website. Andrew, how can they check it out?
Yes, that's over at markbellslingshot.com. And at checkout, enter promo code PowerProject10 to save 10% off your entire order. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes. Yeah, when was the last time you went to a commercial gym?
So I have a 24-hour membership that I've had since 2007 because they had a deal. In 2007, I took a private loan from my dad for $750. They had you pay 3 years up front for $750, and then you get $49 a year for the rest of your life.
Oh, what?
So since 2010, I've been paying $49 a year with the exception.
Did you ever pay your dad back?
I did. I paid him back. I paid him back. I think I did a 1-year loan with him because I was in college.
Dude, 24 is probably just like, fuck, he keeps coming back.
So I haven't been to 24 in a long
but
time.
as far as like your payments, I guess.
Oh, yeah. There was a mini class action lawsuit because they raised the prices about 4 years ago to $99 and people flipped out and I ended up getting money back.
$99 per what?
Year.
Oh,
So last year I had credit. Last year actually cost me like $18 I paid $18 last year for the entire year.
Wow.
Damn.
So it's like I can't get rid of that.
No. Yeah.
I have no desire to go, but I just want it in case I'm on the road. But yeah, commercial gym, very, very rarely. I mean, I travel now a little bit, so there's a small 24-hour key card gym by my house that I'll sneak into if I can't make it to Super Training Gym. But 98% of my workouts are in this building for 9 years.
You still do some stuff for cardiovascular. I mean, right now you're getting ready for a powerlifting meet, so there's probably less of that. But I know Josh at the end of the workouts has some cardio style workouts, right?
Yeah. So
Or you guys are dragging the sled like crazy right now.
yeah, so part of it on Saturdays has been heavy sled drag, 600 pounds for 50 feet for 4 rounds, which I only did one set unbroken. The rest is like clustered up. But I am doing a 3-mile ruck right now. So 30-pound pack, which I'm new to rucking this past few months. 30 pounds felt like a million pounds to me. When I read it on paper, I was like, 30 pounds? Like, that's nothing. It's a lot for me.
So you walk for 3 miles?
I do 3 miles, and my fastest is 52 minutes, 51 minutes and change, I think it was. So it's for me, that's a pretty good pace. But most range in that 50 to 60 minute mark. So I do that once a week, and then just walks on top of that.
Do you do that here?
I do that at home.
Okay.
I found a loop that's literally, I just walked and set a distance gauge
You have
and
a
just go.
weight vest, or you just throw it into a backpack?
I have
or?
a crappy 20-something-year-old Decine snowboard backpack that's now tearing on the bottom that I just throw some 10-pound weights in.
Chuck it right in there.
Yeah. Yeah, vests look like the way to go, though.
What benefits? Oh, you should check out that CrossFit Tech Tac vest. You can load like 40 pounds or whatever in there,
that'd
but
be
it's
perfect.
super comfortable to walk in.
Oh, I'm dying. By the end of this, the straps are like off, and I'm just like holding. I'm using the waist strap only pretty much, and my shoulders are just destroyed.
You should buy that motherfucker. It's good.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
What have you noticed in terms of like adding in, because you've been doing cardio and fat shaming, that Jesse Burdick's program for you guys before. What have you noticed like the benefits of keeping and doing some type of cardio with your workouts versus maybe there was a time when you weren't? I don't know if there ever was a time, but.
Yeah, I mean, I go in waves. So there are like, a month or two where I do less walking or less, we call it fat shame, which just is very appealing. And so there are times I'll stop and I feel like shit. If I consistently do it for a few weeks or a month, I look better. TRT or not, I physically look better. So it's one of those BS things. It's like, I know it's good for me. I literally look in the mirror and I see the results, and I'm making a conscious decision not to do it. Like, you feel like a piece of crap. So that's been my biggest motivator. So like this past week, it's the same thing. It's like, do I want to skip my ruck, or do I want to make sure I get it in and like feel and look better? And that's been the biggest transition or biggest feedback for me.
You got some ice cream in your life these days? The Parlor, or what's that place called?
The Parlor. I haven't been to the Parlor in a minute.
Wow, that's impressive.
Wait, what's the Parlor, by the way? Like, do they have the?
Just explain one of your favorites from there, please.
Yeah. So, there's a method too. So Parlor, I don't know if it's a chain, but there's 2 of them in the Sacramento area. I'm hoping they're nationwide. But they have a glazed or non-glazed donut, and they heat it. They cut it in half, and then it's Gunther's ice cream, which is a local place. It's delicious. And so I get 2 scoops. So one on each side of the glazed donut, and then you get to pick a bunch of toppings, and I pick like a dozen toppings to the point where, of course, the teenager behind the counter is just pissed. So, get Oreos, Reese's, Fruit Loops, I mean, you get everything, and it doesn't make any sense. It's all just sugar. But the key is, so the key is they put it on a piece of parchment paper and they close it. Then they pass it in the back where they actually heat it up. They smash it. Well, there's a ton of leftover toppings on the parchment paper. And so I just kindly asked them to scoop those into a cup. Wow.
That's like the extra from Shake. You know, when they make you a shake at a diner.
So sometimes they get a little judgy, but it usually, it's like a good snack while you wait the 30 seconds for your ice cream. Yeah, there you go.
It would be a tough ask if you were like, if you were heavier, you would probably be like, I'm not even going to ask. They're going to think,
I did go once, and I finished my first one, and I went to get my second, and I kid you not, she said, another one? And I wanted to be like, yeah, bitch.
So judgy.
Yeah, I was like,
how I live my life.
I was like, dang, I'm
Like,
trying to give you business.
Work out a lot for this.
What about the time that you ate one and had to hide it? from, I think you had to, like, you and your wife were going to go and you went before. And I think you ate it in the car because you didn't want her to know that you went without her.
I think it was when I had a really long beard. I think my wife caught me.
Yeah, I remember.
I went
So fat.
I used to have a pretty good sized beard, and thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
My wife will love that story.
I just remember you said that you had to like eat it in the car because like I don't whatever happened.
My wife loves it. The place is a good treat, and so I went solo, which anybody does that's on another level, and devoured it. And I thought I was good, and then I come home and there's ice cream and stuff in my beard, and she instantly knew.
Your wife likes to point out that you were in a rap video.
I was in a rap video. Yeah.
She like shows everybody, right?
Yeah, it's been a while. Well, I was in Meathead Millionaire, and I did a dance with Stan, and so it's I'm in a pretty embarrassing scene where I don't dance well. I know,
No
right?
way.
And so I'm doing like a whatever dance, and we've had every family function for like the first 6 months or 12 months after. She's like, Steve was in a rap video. You guys want to see it?
Oh God, we have to.
And she would instantly
that's
pull
so
up my
great.
scene.
That was so much fun.
Yeah.
You know, this is such an interesting rap video where there's no presence of black people.
No.
It's the first one of its
I'm
kind.
joking, but also, where's Smokey's dance?
It was at the
It's
hot
at the
tub, right?
house,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're
it's
getting there.
Yeah,
Here we go.
All right, we got a Filipino. That counts.
Oh, there's
Okay,
someone stark.
yeah.
God, look at Stan.
Stan's so jacked.
Stan
my
is
bad. I forgot to
jacked.
pull this up.
That's where he's big and jacked. Yeah, it gets weird. It gets weirder.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
I'm in one of those scenes in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did we
but my
miss
wife,
it?
of course, had it like bookmarked.
All right, where's Smokey?
Oh,
Rewind. I need to see that again. I saw Marcus dancing.
That's great.
How's Charlie Zamora back there too?
Yeah, I think
There he is.
everyone that we knew was there.
Oh, there we go. So is it this thing that you're
Yeah,
doing?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
Now your wife can start to bring that back up to the people over at Merrick.
Yeah, they don't know it yet.
Make sure they get an
this is
opportunity.
now.
Everyone needs
That's amazing.
Everyone needs the opportunity to see that.
I just forgot about that too.
Oh wait, Chris Bohr got slammed into the fucking pool.
Oh yeah.
Look at that. Watch.
And was that
1,
Jake?
2.
Oh, everyone
Probably.
Yeah, probably
Jake's chilling in the
doing his homework.
Randomly.
Oh my God. It's a
Incredible.
unicorn.
We've had a lot of fun in this gym
Yeah.
over the years.
Oh, a ton. Halloween, we'd go really hard with costumes, and I know you do the whole. You would go really hard actually. Now I think about it, like full day body paint.
Mm-hmm.
The Revenant shoot.
Yep.
That was a really cool one.
I'll pull up a classic. The
bunny.
chubby bunny
Yeah.
challenge.
Oh yeah, Chubby Bunny. That was hard.
That was hard.
Stuffing our face with what, marshmallows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
And
trying
then
to eat
I
at
think
the
And
same
trying
time.
to deadlift.
I think Marcus won.
Yeah.
Of course he won.
Yeah.
That man.
He was
yeah.
able to stuff it down pretty good.
I was
Look at that face.
inadvertently cheating. It was like dissolving in your mouth, so it was starting to like go away.
So you could, yeah.
Make
You
more
were
room.
one of the. I think it was just you and Marcus towards the end.
Yeah, and then I got the giggles,
Uh-huh.
and like he packed it
Oh
even
my
like a
God.
dip.
So it's what? Fit it in your mouth and then do a deadlift?
And then
Yeah.
every
And-
time you do one, you got to put another. Or right before you have to put a new chubby bunny, and you have,
And then
to,
you have to
say,
say it.
chubby
Yeah.
bunny.
So was Mark the first that was out, or was Mark even doing this?
Yeah, Mark was in
You're
there.
doing it?
I'm in there.
Yeah, I think because everyone
didn't
just
do
started
very well.
laughing. It was hard for
Yeah.
people to just
Shot out of my
keep their-
nose, I think.
Dan
I'm
was there
surprised because
too.
you have a really large face.
Especially in these
Especially
pictures.
then, yeah.
Or these videos.
I just remember me and Chris laughing so hard that like we couldn't even use the footage from my camera because like it was just so shaky. But that was a good
He had
one.
an advantage though because he dipped. So he was like he had
Yeah,
those.
He's been training.
he knew how to get it in there.
Oh, it was hard.
And I just remember your hands were full of chalk and you're just in there just fucking finger blasting your face.
Oh
Yeah.
God! Ew.
Can all the chalk that we were all touching.
For everyone listening, we're
I'll find
watching
it.
them deadlift and stick marshmallows in
man.
their mouth.
Yeah, it got to be tough.
That was a fun one.
Have you taken some other things as well? Have you messed around with like things like Metformin or anything like that?
Semaglutide. Yeah,
really?
that I've messed around with, and it's worked too well. So we've always talked. I love eating at night.
It can
like late at
reset
night.
your appetite, right?
Yeah,
Can help lower it.
That's definitely the good aspect. So I've been in a kind of a bulking phase, just wanting to put on some more size, which is the ultimate powerlifting justification for getting fatter. And so I like to eat at night though, and I just wanted to crave my hunger. So I started semaglutide, and it worked too well. Like I just wasn't hungry at all. And so I had to lower my dosage and even just stop it for a while just because it worked too well. So I'm going to save it for opportunity to where I want to, maybe after this powerlifting meet, where I'm going to get shredded.
After you took it, did you when you say it worked too well, when you came off of it, was there any remnants, side effects at all?
No, I had zero side. So just so everybody else knows, so semaglutide, it is a once a week injectable into your subcutaneous fat, so your belly. And it is a tiny amount. It is an unbelievably tiny amount. And some side effects, so it curbs appetite. So, it works with, is it lowering A1C?
It almost acts as if you had like the stomach surgery.
Yeah, it slows down your digestion, so you're more full.
The geriatric band or whatever thingy. That's what it's called. Yeah.
So I had zero side effects, but you know when you just aren't hungry, maybe you just ate, or I don't know. It's not a common feeling for me, so it's hard to. I'm sure you guys are used to it with fasting and whatnot, but it just made me not hungry. I didn't feel sick. I didn't feel anything. But yeah, it takes about a week or so for the treatment to wear off. That's why you have to do it only once a week. So it did take about a little over a week, 2 weeks.
It can make some people nauseous, I think, like stuff like that.
Some people can get nausea, but for the most part, I think everyone else is good.
How new is semaglutide? Because the first time I heard about it was with Spencer Nadolski, and then Gabrielle also talked about it, and now I'm seeing it on YouTube, and different creators
I think
are
it's
talking
been around
about
for
it.
a little bit, but it's been more popular in the last year. I think it's been around for about 5-6 years, maybe.
Yeah. So yeah, Marek actually is, in the telehealth space, has been one of the first that brought it in over a year ago. So Derek was talking about it, made a huge thing of it, and then we got access to it. And yeah, it's been a huge saver. We have a lot of our clients have lost 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds in 6 months, 3 to 6 months, in addition to health style, lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
It's something that has been studied quite a bit. It's deemed as relatively safe. Again, like you got to each person's gonna
vitamin
have,
C can mess can mess your
each
tummy
person's
up.
gonna have a variation. But I think what we're seeing is this gives doctors and patients a really awesome opportunity to kind of defeat this thing of like just being so addicted to food and so addicted to processed foods. And people need an ability to change, and sometimes when you're stuck in your old habits and you feel addicted to them, it doesn't feel like you have much of an opportunity for change. You feel stuck.
So I look at it too, just like I mentioned earlier, like a training block. If I was morbidly obese and I just wasn't making the changes necessary, but it took a treatment or a supplement or a shift in whatever fashion it was, whether it's hiring a coach or whatever, anything, but I had to do it for 6 months or a year to change the rest of my life, the projection of the rest of my life and my lifestyle. Like that's what it is. So people look at, a treatment or supplement and go, well, I don't want to be on that forever. It's like, well, you don't have to be. It's just to think of it as a Kickstarter to just start that path for you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
I really do hope it works as well. It obviously works, but triggers go off in my mind when something works too well. I'm like, what's going on here? And I hope
always
it's
a risk to reward, always.
But maybe this is something, and I hope this is something for a lot of people, because you think of people, morbidly obese individuals, if that can curb their hunger and no crazy things down the road, fuck yeah, do that shit.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. Again, I think if you can get a lot of people to lose maybe about 10% of their body weight, they're going to start to feel motivated on their own to where maybe they won't even need the drug. Once someone lost 50 pounds, they might then have the momentum. But I agree with you. It's like, what's the minimum effective dose? And maybe there'll be a time where you don't need it. Yeah. Maybe you won't need that dosage of that product anymore.
Yeah, I think we can all agree, right? Lifestyle is the number one factor in any healthy life. And genetics is a big one, but can't control that. We just can't. So, if it's just what it takes to kick that over, then I'm all for it.
Because we're like in this space and we think of Marek telehealth, we're just like, oh, like optimizing for our performance and stuff. But do people come to Marek specifically for weight loss?
Yeah, so I want to say the last numbers I had was about 50% of our clients are not on TRT.
Okay.
Now that's a rough estimation. That could be a few months ago, but a lot of people are coming to us just for like health optimization. So weight loss, libido, hair loss prevention, just complete lifestyle.
Do I have a chance, bro?
Prevention, not
Can I
Not
get this? Can I
restoration.
get this line back?
I personally do not have the answer for that. but
My
I'll-
daddy went bald, guys.
I'll
It wasn't
connect-
because of drug use. My dad was bald.
I'll connect you with someone.
I think there is a lot of progression in that, but it's more like holding on to what you have and not necessarily regrowing something that's not there any longer.
Yeah, so I'm on low dose finasteride when I started TRT as well, and I'm on. I mean, it's like
Your hair looks great.
Yeah.
knock on wood.
It does.
But balding is on both sides of my family, so I just figured I'll hold on to it as long as I
Kind
can.
of looks like you're wearing like a yarmulke a little bit because the
Oh, there is one.
headphones- Oh, okay, never mind. I won't touch that.
I took it off when I got here.
You know.
It's like right behind the headphones. You
The
see how the
internet-
hair's sticking up a little
A
bit?
little bit.
Yeah. Okay. How's okay? Good. We're not canceled yet. We're safe.
No, it's
The
fair
internet
game.
right now is going crazy with Ye and H3H3. Did you hear what Ethan Klein said? Do you know who he is?
Oh, Kanye. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. You don't know who Ethan Klein is?
No.
All right. Well, we'll go to something else. But Ethan Klein was pretty much, he's this YouTuber who was making fun of Ben Shapiro, and he said that if there is another, I'm just gonna stop.
We'll talk about
Ethan Klein said, I don't want to say that
We'll
here.
talk about it off air.
Please
don't need-
continue,
No,
Nsima.
no. I like
What were
the
you about to
podcast.
I love Jews.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love them. How much family
Sorry.
do you have in Israel, by the way? You mentioned.
Sorry, Jesus. You're
No,
not really part of the show.
Well, he is Old Testament,
He
right?
should be with me. Yeah, he's Jewish.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, we're good.
There you go.
Keep them over there.
Keep them
There we
protected.
Nice.
But yeah, do you have a lot of family in Israel?
I don't have any that I'm aware of. The Israel trip is something called birthright. So when you're in your when you're about 20, they basically pay for you to go there in hopes that you actually move there
Damn.
to repopulate, to give back to the community.
Wow.
Repopulate. Even when you're married?
Can I just redo the repopulate part?
You're like, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, I'm here for my week-long
Your
repopulation.
pants around your ankles. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell? No, it's not like that.
I'll populate, then I'll leave. You keep the kid.
Yeah, come back
Damn.
once a year.
Can I ask you a little bit about Accutane? Because I do hear about that a lot. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is exactly. I have a pretty wicked case of back knee, but like I don't know what I can do with that.
Yeah, so I actually had to go outside of Marek's need or possibilities for Accutane. I even went to my local doctor and they denied me Accutane completely. So I had to go through some back channels.
Is it kind of labeled as maybe a slightly dangerous drug?
Yeah, so it's very liver toxic, and the side effects suck. But to me, they're worth it. So as someone that deals with acne, it sucks. Like acne sucks. Like it's their moment, like emotional moments of just being super depressed, sad, embarrassed to go out. Having gotten on testosterone, my acne even got a little bit worse. So it was just like, fuck, I just started this new thing and I feel so good and all these other aspects, but now my face looks weird. Like I don't even want to go out and look at people in the eye. So it was the final straw. So I got Accutane and I did a relatively low dose, 40 milligrams per day. I believe someone my size, about 200 pounds, I want to say like a high dose would be like 100 plus milligrams a day. I know there's like a ratio to do there, but I did it for a little over 6 months. And for me, the side effects were like I had debilitating just joint pain. My back was in constant pain. Just getting off the couch hurt a lot. Lifting was very difficult. And then dry face, chapped lips nonstop. I had chapstick
Kind
in
of
every
dries
other
out
room.
everything, right?
It
Like
just
your joints and
nukes,
shit, right?
It nukes everything, yeah. But I can honestly say, like, everything's reverted back. I'm beyond happy with the results. I think I've been off for about 2 months or so. I think I've had like a pimple, which I would love to have, like as a grown adult, like a pimple. But to be in my 30s with pretty bad acne, even before TRT, just sucks. So I guess it just depends on what you're comfortable with and if it's worth it or not. I mean, I don't see you shirtless that often, but or the back of you.
Yeah.
So
No,
I don't know how bad
I've just
it
been
is.
trying like traditional, not traditional, but just like regular bro shit, like using Head and Shoulders, trying to dry everything out, like any kind of drying like product on my like back, and it's kind of helped, but it kind of hasn't.
Yeah. So prior to the Accutane, I mean, as you can imagine, I've tried everything: antibiotics, creams, washes.
Try no soap.
No
I
soap.
know, yeah.
That's so I've done. Well, I haven't done that, but like cutting out dairy, cutting out sugar. Then I think it was just so bad that I just had to do
Something.
like, you know, allegedly like the worst thing you can do for you.
Did you always have back knee?
No. Remember, like I would like talk shit, like not talk shit to anybody, but just be like, oh, I've never washed my face, and like all throughout school, like I have pimples here and there once in a while.
Karma.
Exactly. 100%. Especially during the summertime when I sweat a lot.
Yeah.
Like it's bad. Like I'll wake up and then like the bed sheets, I'll be like, oh fuck. Like it just spots everywhere because it's like the back knee's like bursting. Ooh. And it's, and then so now like rolling and shit, I'm just like, he got me on something. Like, fuck. You know, so that's why I was like, I don't think it would be worth it for me to take Accutane though, after what you said. But
I mean, it's 6 months and it was tough, but worth it to me.
What about anything with the stomach? Have you heard anything? Like, I'm kind of curious if semaglutide would help in some weird way. Like, have you heard anything from some of the people at Marek Health in terms of like gut health and the skin? Like, I've heard that that's supposed to be a thing, but I don't really know what's true.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I haven't dove into that, like the connection with that. I know we have peptides for gut health in general, but I haven't had any correlation between that and acne.
Yeah,
but I believe it.
Like
I mean, it's definitely possible.
Like oral BPC 157 or whatever.
Injectable even.
Yeah.
I mean, people that go on carnivore diet or paleo diet, they seem to report skin stuff, but they're also just getting healthier in general. So it's probably hard to, you know what I mean? It's hard
if
to
you
pinpoint.
take someone that eats cake every day and then take away cake every day versus someone that eats maybe rice every day.
Yeah.
I imagine there's a huge difference in their skin clearing up.
Fertility stuff with Marek. Do you have anybody have people come? Because I remember I wanted to get my numbers seen in terms of my semen and shit. Do you guys do anything like that?
So we don't do semen testing right now, but we are working on adding that to the criteria, to the what we can offer. So we send people for that, but we do help people help get their wives pregnant or significant others. So working with HCG or getting them to come off testosterone and get their numbers up. So people that know when you get on testosterone, your testicles shut down essentially because they're like, oh, I don't need to produce testosterone. So they shrink up a little bit. They say, all right, we're done. So we want to bring that back the best we can. And I mean, I have coworkers that have had no problem and, got their wives pregnant and clients left and right. So it is a very common thing that people come to us for.
Cool.
The idea of like optimizing your hormones, and especially when it comes like particularly to testosterone, probably is to take an amount that would elevate you beyond what you were doing previously, and or put you into a more optimal zone for you to get the benefits of testosterone without the negative side effects. That's kind of the basis of it, right? Because if we start to take a lot of it, then the estrogen shoots up and like all kinds of other side effects might happen. A lot of water retention and things like that. So the 150, depending on the person, the milligram dosage, is going to sound low compared to like a regular cycle. But when people do regular steroid cycles, there's a lot of consequences and a lot of other drugs that come along with that. So you end up with, you're taking these 2 or 3 things to make yourself bigger, but then you need 2 or 3 other things to combat all the different shit that's going on. Whereas in the case of TRT, you can make an argument that sometimes all you might need is just a little bit of testosterone, like people say.
Yeah.
A little shot in the arm can go a long way.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of places that will throw you on a whole handful of items right off the bat. And it's like, well, let's just start with 1 or 2 and then just reassess. And then you add medical. So I have a medical condition. I was born with my bladder outside my body. So I've had, dozens of surgeries, and there's things that I have to keep tabs of. Like I need to I've seen my primary or my urologist, and working with my doctors at Marek. Like there's a lot of things that I want to make sure are good. My prostate levels, I don't want to make sure those are inflamed. So there's things you have to really be careful of. And just like you mentioned, you overdo one thing, then you got to start adding other things into the mix, which are fine if that's the route you want to go, but that doesn't have to be the route.
Yeah.
What do you think you were most reluctant on years ago with trying it since you've been so close to it for so long? And even though none of us are doctors, we know quite a bit about it, and especially when you get around someone like Stan Efferding and you get around some of the people that we've been around here at Slingshot. What do you think was the main like apprehension?
So yeah, that's a really good question. So I always looked at, steroids, or let's put under testosterone, as the deep end, the really far end. So I never saw that there was like a more pulled back, healthier, reserved option. I didn't even know that existed. I just thought when you get on, you're getting on an actual cycle.
You're either in the kiddie pool or you're going off a 10-meter dive.
You're either in or you're in the way. And I'm choosing to be in the way. So yeah, exactly. I thought once you dive in, you are committed to going big cycles, trend, deca, all this stuff. And so I didn't realize there was
and some of the
way.
people around us, it wasn't always great. Some people don't see the kind of like dark side. I mean, people have anger issues, and when you get into a gym that's competitive where people are all prepping for a contest, things get a little weird, and you see the attitudes and the acne and the
it all makes sense now.
And the bloody
at the time it didn't make sense.
And the bloody noses and stuff, like it's
Memories.
not all
It's just all these memories.
it's not all good, it's not all good.
Yeah, it totally makes sense now on why the gym was the way it was. Good, for the good of motivation, but then like, wow, that makes sense why that guy yelled at me unnecessarily. Like, he was probably on a bunch of stuff, and it was 2 weeks out from a meet. So there's a whole bunch of factors. So that was the big thing. And like I say, I can't, it's a funny story, but 4 days goes by at joining Marek, and I'm literally rubbing cream on my thighs. Like that's
Speaking
how
of
convincing
thighs.
it was.
Oh yeah.
Oh, thigh wars.
Thigh war.
I think Nsima put his penis on me.
He does that a lot.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm doing it to him.
You do that a lot.
Look at our lack of hip mobility at the time, man.
That's great.
Damn.
I have a feeling that gesture was
Yeah, that was
sexual.
You felt something warm, pulsing.
We can't hear the video, but based off our hand gestures, it was.
Big
So do you think maybe you were looking for an excuse for a while to get on some stuff?
What do you mean?
Like, do you think you were, like you said, 4 days into being with Marek?
Oh, no, I legitimately went into starting at Marek. So just a little backstory. This is my first time. I work for a telehealth company, so it's all remote. So we're all over the world. Like one of my coworkers, like he's in Australia, and then I got another in Germany. Like we're all over. So it is weird to start a new position where you haven't face to face met anyone. Versus here at Slingshot, right? You go into an office, you have an interview, you come back for another interview, you do a tour. Like I didn't have that. It was just all over the phone or a Zoom call. So it was my first time meeting the doctor, one of the doctors, meeting the owner, meeting the clinical advisor, and then going to a pharmacy. It was just like, I didn't go into it thinking I was going to go down the path at all. But it was just so hit me in the face with how amazing it was that I was just like instantly sold.
Again, share as much as you want, but because I think you might have had to have this conversation, but like for dudes that do want to go through Marek and optimize their hormones and stuff, but they have to have that conversation with their wife or their significant other, and their wife is probably like, oh, you're going to be on steroids and you're going to, so like what does that conversation look like? Like, how do you advise dudes go about telling their significant other that like, you want to explore this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, that was one of the other reasons why I was so reluctant on going. My wife and I have been together for 15 years, and she didn't want me to go down that path because we also had the same thing. It was your steroids, like you're jumping off into the deep end. That's all it was. There was no middle ground.
She knows how much you love the gym and everything. Didn't want to see you pushing into all that shit even further.
Yeah. So in that and the health aspect, when I think of, extensive steroid use, I don't think of the healthiest of things, right? So that was a huge factor. And so it was the same thing for her when she, I was, months into Marek, and she saw it and, was able to experience it even herself. Like she felt really good about what was there to offer. And so, and then you add all the content we started creating and showing, and her, being able to talk to people, and it just it shed a lot of light to her and myself for sure. But yeah, I would recommend talking to your significant other. There are people that will come, they'll get on stuff and then they'll become not fertile, but not tell their wife. And then it's like, oh, I kind of, and they're using underground stuff or whatever it is. And it's like, they didn't communicate that, or they didn't do the research to know that is a possibility. there are things to do to reverse it, but could you imagine how pissed your wife would be in that instant?
Yeah.
How does the company work on communication, like not amongst each other, but to the outside world? We see that you have an Instagram and you utilize a lot of stuff from the podcast here and some other well-known people in the game where they're saying something that probably aligns with what you guys are talking about. How else do you guys communicate? Because it is complicated. And a lot of people might think, oh, they just hand out steroids, or they might have wrong interpretations of what you guys do.
Yeah, so we redid our website about a year ago just to put as much information on what we do, and which everyone does. But the biggest thing is just align with people like you, right? Affiliates, people that we like sponsoring podcasts that we have, similar morals and obligations to, and want to make sure that we're reaching out to the audience in the proper manner. And then we want to redirect them to our website, and that way they can get on the phone with someone and they can actually have that call. So when people book a consultation with us, they're able to get on a phone call, get on a Zoom video call with a patient care coordinator who's their like concierge service provider, and they can get the complete breakdown of what to expect and what the process is like, and what the cool stuff that they're going to start receiving, like the treatment and just the service.
You'll talk to that person first, right? And you'll communicate back and forth. Maybe you get some blood work done. That person might give you some information on what they saw with the blood work, but then you'll actually talk to a physician that will walk you through literally every single marker that you have from your blood work results, right?
Yeah, so you get a whole medical team. So your patient care coordinator is almost like a mini Derek from More Plates, More Dates, right? Like they're super sharp, they're dedicated. Some are pharmacists, some are nurses. It's just they're not the provider, right? They're not the doctor, the nurse practitioner, but they are very they have all the comprehensive knowledge in terms of hormone optimization and preventative health. So they'll walk you through the process. You'll get your own custom 30+ page lab report. So we've all looked at LabCorp docs like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Like, okay, great. That's my LDL, or that's some other marker or bun. I don't even know what I'm looking at. So we'll actually break it down, and we'll provide over-the-counter treatment options, lifestyle changes, dietary changes, and then prescription treatment recommendations. And then that's when we'll connect you with a provider that has license in your state. So if you're in California, we have a laundry list of providers that will be able to meet with you. All remote, all digital, so you can do it from the comfort of your phone or your computer, and then they'll be able to go over your actual prescription treatment options. So let's say your markers are way out of whack, you're overweight. It's not an all or nothing jump into something. You might start with just semaglutide. It's like, hey, let's get your weight down, and then we'll address your testosterone levels, or let's get your thyroid checked, or get your thyroid in line before we address all these other things. And then we're able to put the prescription order in with our pharmacies and have it shipped directly to your door. So literally the only things you have to do is get your labs drawn at a local place. There's one like 2 minutes from my house. They're all over the United States, and we're expanding even more than that, even to do at your house soon. And then additionally, you just have to get a physical once a year from a urgent care or a doctor. Yeah. And that's it. The rest is all remote. And it's all super convenient. It shows up right at your front door, supplies, everything.
My experience has been, we found stuff in the blood where it's like, oh, this isn't really that big of a concern, but it did pop up on 2 tests in a row. Let's investigate it further. And then you get a follow-up. Sometimes it's a little bit of pain in the butt to get all the different tests done, but it's great to just know, right? It's great to have that knowledge and to have someone walk you through. And then when we did deeper dives, luckily we didn't find anything like worse was going on, but it was good to know and good to look into it.
Yeah, it's definitely a premier service. There's a lot of people they're coming to us, or they have, and they're like, oh, there's places that are $99 a month for TRT and this and that. It's like, by all means, go ahead. If that's the path you want to go, if you're just looking for that, you're not looking for expert guidance, you're not looking for treatment options that that we offer that they don't, by all means, if that's the route you go, great. But if you're looking for an actual premium service where you have your own patient care coordinator, your own medical staff to bounce ideas and communicate with, and you have access to all this stuff, then Marek's the way to go.
Yeah, this isn't some TRT clinic. Like that's one thing I see some people mentioning in the comments, like, oh, it's a TRT clinic. No, like no matter if you're on TRT or if you're not, your blood work is just good to understand. It's good to understand where you are at this point in time, so that if you choose to go on a bodybuilding prep, or you choose to take up a different type of diet, or you fucking start doing running and you go on the deep end, if you do your blood work 6 months from now and something's tanked, you can see, okay, what am I doing differently, and what can I do to change that?
Yep.
So it's just good for people to get to understand and do.
Yeah.
What's the youngest that you can get your blood work?
18.
18. Okay.
Yeah.
What were you about to say?
But yeah, in addition to the guided optimization that we offer, that's like the actual Marek service. People come to us and just get labs. Yeah. People can create their own lab panel. You guys have your own custom lab panel. You guys have a couple, like Stan Efferdine has a lab panel, and that's just great. You want to get a couple markers checked? Cool. You have a buddy who can help you, go over them, or you have a coach, by all means, grab it and go. Mm-hmm. It's another option.
Who are some of the lifters that you still admire, that you still follow? Like Stan has been somebody that we all like a lot, and he's fun to watch his Instagram and stuff, and he's still like murdering big ass weights. I know you're a big fan of Jay Cutler, and you're a big fan of like bodybuilding and getting after it. So like, who are some of your faves?
Chris Duffin, that's one of them. But yeah, Stan and Jay, definitely up there, hands down. Chris Duffin's always cool. He's just done some amazing stuff. He's weird. He's weird. He does. maybe I could have just ended with that. He's very eccentric. He's very methodical. He's on a whole nother level of smart that I don't understand, but I enjoy listening. I had an opportunity for him to help me brace with squatting and stuff, and I've watched that video on your guys' channel 50 times.
It's still very relevant too, the stuff with the toes and the feet and all that stuff.
And bracing and pushing out and everything.
He had you put the band around your toes and then try to keep your big toe down.
It crushed me.
But your big toe was pulled away. This is like a video from 6 years ago or something. The big toe was pulled away from the other toes and it made an arch in your foot.
Yep.
Which like we're starting to see more people post videos on now.
It's just finally getting around. Branch Warren, I mean.
Oh, wow.
Let's lift heavy and a lot of reps.
Do you like to lift heavy or you like to do a lot of reps? He's like, yes.
Like that's really exciting. So that's someone I still really like to watch. I love bodybuilding. Let me take that. I don't love the art of the stage of bodybuilding. I love the training of bodybuilding.
So maybe Chris Bumstead, like, cause he's getting after it with some big weights. And there's a bunch of other guys that are just like loading the fucking rack up on
Nick Walker.
Right? Yeah.
And they just look like freaks.
Yeah.
Because you and Lauren would work out till you'd pass out. I remember when Lauren first came in, I had to actually stop him a bunch of times, like during a deadlift, because he would just...
His back. You made a video because he would the dog shitting on the front lawn video.
He just kept going with his reps, and I'm like, no, the reps are done. Like, you got to stop. Yeah, this is a pretty good video right here.
Yeah, our lifting style was pretty bad. We had no concept of form, no concept of anything. It was just lift until you can't lift anymore. That literally was it.
Lifting and I'll say diet maybe, because Lauren used to take his lunch in like a trash bag, you used to say, or something like that.
Yeah, so Lauren will love that one. So Lauren
I remember the garbage bag, like the hefty bag.
Yeah, so Lauren would get pizza, and I don't know what other foods he did this with, but he would get pizza, let's say like a Papa Murphy's, right? Like a take and bake situation. And, most people would, when you're done, put it in a Ziploc or put it in a piece of Tupperware. I open his fridge and he literally has the pizza on the cardboard box in a black trash bag. So he reuses a black like trash bag where he puts food in to store it in the refrigerator. Now, to be fair, that was a few years ago, so I don't know if things have changed, but I don't think so.
Hopefully not.
This is proof that people that are very handsome have a different life than some of the rest of
his
the people,
life is so easy. Yeah.
No woman's ever called him out on that.
No, they're just going to look right past it and be like, you have beautiful eyes.
Totally normal. Oh, this is cool, neat. This is super neat that you do this.
Is he in the bubble or not quite?
Oh, that's a good question. He's not in Nsima's bubble. Nsima's in the bubble.
I'm not in any type of bubble.
Nsima is the bubble.
No.
What's the bubble?
The bubble.
I'm not in a bubble.
The bubble's from an episode of 30 Rock where the main character Liz Lemon's dating John
like
Hamm
in his own world,
and he has because everyone's coddled him like, oh, you're doing that right, even though it's not right, or just because he's so handsome.
It's like a funny ass clip with John Hamm.
Like some stranger on the street. It's like, oh man, looking good, and she's like, well, who's that? He's like, oh.
Yeah.
Is this the same thing as the potatoes from the store?
No, you're another character from 30 Rock. You're Jack Donaghy, where he makes reference to he goes, you're at the grocery store and you talk to the store concierge, and you go to buy a bag of potatoes, which costs $400. you have no
concept of money.
I'm pretty sure I've seen you buy a single coffee with like $100 bill. You're just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't need it.
I guess they'll give me money back. Or maybe this is the whole thing. Yeah. So that's you. You guys have, that's funny. I wonder if I can find a character.
You can make a whole
Andrew.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah. It existed.
I know. I'm saying like we can make a remake of some of it right here.
What's $5,000? What's $10,000?
Yeah.
What's $20,000?
For
it's a penny
for a milk.
Yeah.
What do you got going on with your motorcycle?
Yeah, I just did an awesome 640-mile ride the other day, a couple weeks ago, up
What you
in
got?
Tahoe.
People are going to want to know.
Yeah,
what
I
you
got a 19 Harley Davidson Street Bob that I've put a little bit of work into. Got a FXR fairing and some Leather Pro saddlebags, and yeah, I love ripping that thing. Got about 30,000 miles on it in a couple years, 3 years. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Got some snowboarding coming up. It's starting to get cold.
Yeah, we live really close to Tahoe, so it's just hoping that the snow is there. It's just such a seasonal thing, obviously, and so yeah, if I can sneak out of state maybe this year, go to Colorado or Utah or something, that'd be really sweet.
And you can still do that stuff okay, even getting bigger and a little more jacked and stuff?
So I do notice that is probably snowboarding's the one sport where, because you sit down and you have to lean over to strap in your bindings, I will know for a fact
You're going to be breathing hard.
if I'm over 190, it's noticeably more challenging to reach my bindings because of my gut.
You have a gut.
Well, I mean, you're sitting down, your knees are to your chest, and you're leaning over with like extra snowboard gear, like
a little extra chub.
Yeah, it's enough to get in the way of your bindings.
Don't you guys call that like a bench belly, or what do you call it?
Yeah,
power belly.
Power belly.
Yeah,
there you go. You have a little power belly.
Yeah. So most people like to get leaner for summer. I actually like to get leaner for winter, so I can reach my bindings better. So
what do you think you're going to do in this meet? We got a 600-pound deadlift. What's going on?
Yeah, so squats finally coming. I've had some glute issues, some tendon issue for a handful of years now. So just another BS excuse like we all get. But I'll 500 plus squat and sleeves. I won't push it too much. I have to beat 418 on bench. So 424, 430, something like that. It has to be there that day. I'll be pretty upset. And then 600 plus deadlift would be great. So that's the plan.
With your bench, because you've been a great bencher, right? Why do you think it stopped at 418?
I don't. Because I've tried a lot of different things.
It's not lack of effort.
Yeah. That's part of. I genuinely believe I've hit close to my potential, my max ceiling, like my strength ceiling for bench press. I think deadlift was climbing up pre-TRT. Squat was going pretty good. I think there was some more room in that, but I think my bench press it's only so much weight, 181 pounds.
Yeah, you've done like West Side style training.
Oh, linear, daily undulated periodization.
I've had many different people program.
Yeah.
Many different types of programs. You've tried to not bench as much. You tried to bench more. You tried to do dumbbells, floor presses, reverse band, slingshot.
And I still love it.
But it's kind of fun in a way, right?
I still love training. Yeah.
Sucks kind of getting stuck, but it's, it's like part of it.
So that's what this past year has been really cool because I've seen some progress. Like to actually see your lifts go up in 3-6 month increments was not common for me, over a year ago. It would take a year or two to see some progress.
That's what was addicting about the powerlifting gear, because you could learn it and there was little aspects to it to where you could just get better in the gear and you didn't necessarily get a whole lot stronger, but you were able to lift a little bit more, and you're like, I lifted more. I lifted more than I did last year. I lifted more than I did a couple weeks ago.
Weighing the same, just leveraging the gear a lot more. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
you're good at dumbbells.
Yeah,
I do love dumbbells.
But with the body weight though, that should be, because I just remember the your IG thing, 181-ish is just always there.
I'll hold on to that.
200-ish.
Yeah. So you'll be competing heavier than you ever have, right?
I've done 2 other powerlifting meets at 198. I've even done a bench only at 198 and benched less than my 418. So that's the thing. I've done 2 meets now heavier than my best bench comp and have not surpassed it.
I mean, that's just part of life, right? Like you know, we work as hard as we can. It's great, but sometimes you don't always get what you want.
Yeah, and it's and so I've hit a gym PR. I benched 430 pretty well in the gym, but we all know it doesn't count. It's got to be at the meet, and in a meet, you know, the stars have to align. It's got to be, you know, you got 3 people watching you. You know, how did you rehydrate? How did your food go? Was there a good handoff?
Butt has to stay on the bench. They got certain rules, right?
Yeah. So
and that's after going as hard as you can on the squat, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. Oof.
You did 430 in the gym recently, though.
No, that was before last prep. I think about 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, I think I did 425.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're
Moved
on
pretty
track.
well. Yeah, everything feels good.
You look jacked, but I don't know if that's just because of the flannel. What do you think?
It's the flannel.
It's very thick. I was really hoping we get to see some pecs on today's podcast, but he just chose to cover everything up
He
for
put
some
the
reason. I don't
silencers
know.
on.
So,
Yeah, I wonder if part of those 26 surgeries was pec implants because he's has big pecs.
So I do DEXA scans, and I'll do one here soon. So it's pretty interesting. My body fat at 197 on TRT was like 17%. So not utterly amazing. But my first DEXA at 181 was 19% body fat.
That's a huge shift.
So that's kind of the biggest way I can kind of just or explain the physical adjustments. I'm at a significantly higher body weight, but my fat is about the same.
It sounds like my technical explanation in the beginning. The fat migrates from the bottom and goes up into the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's been the biggest thing.
So are you gonna pop the top?
I don't like how you talk to me. Like I don't like how that's worded. You make me feels
Are you
degrading.
going to unbutton your shirt for us, please?
Or am I going to have to do it for you?
It's Tuesday, so today's a gym day. So what you got going on there?
Yeah, I have a squat about 490, 500 pounds today, and then just some speed pulls. Yeah, things are starting to wind down. I only have 2 more heavy weeks.
Do you get to pick like the weight that you work with? Like how does it work getting help from Josh Bryant?
So it varies. So he's very specific in a lot of things. Lately, this training block, he's been using a lot of RPE 789. So today is a 789. But I'm basing it off of how my last squat moved a couple weeks ago. My 9 moved probably more of like a 8, 8.5.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 8 representing something that was pretty damn hard.
Yeah, for sure. It wasn't like
couldn't do a second rep.
Yeah, but it was a really easy, or I should say really easy. It was a very clean. I could push it a little bit more. So that's how I kind of pick a number for today. But it's all based how it feels today. So if it moves well, moves well. Thursday I have a heavy bench or heavy-ish. I'm touching 390 for a double. And that's a set prescribed weight. But yeah, most of the stuff's pretty prescribed. Accessories, he might give me some flexibility, which I like.
Has there been any differences in what he recommended versus what he recommends now versus before you got on anything?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Is there like a little more work in there or no?
Maybe
less.
I'm not aware though, because I give him feedback. That's the thing. There's a whole chart, an Excel sheet. I give him, RP feedback. I give him actual like note feedback. I send him an email each week. I send him videos if needed. So maybe on his end, he's making adjustments that I'm just not aware of in terms of my capacity. But I think also with the more you lift, the more you can get banged up. So if I'm, squats are going up, well, deadlifts are going up, well, bench is going up, well, like something's gonna give at some point.
Yeah, Dave Tate talked recently about how guys that are on stuff a lot of times usually do a little bit less than guys that aren't on stuff. But I think it's hard to pick through and make sense of that. I think sometimes guys that take stuff have been training for a long time. So somebody that's been training for 15 years is probably going to choose to do a little less overall work, kind of recognizing that maybe they don't need to do 8 exercises every workout.
And push it too much. I remember the first time I went for a heavy bench, you were there, and this was after starting TRT, and before I went, it was 420 was on the bar. And before I went, you said, Smoke, whatever happens with this weight, this is your last rep today. So if you smoke it, you're done. If it doesn't go well, you're done, because of just my tendons and, not being on it for a long time. And I think I got it really well. You're like, you're done.
Yeah, you need a governor on it.
Yeah, I wanted to go up, but called
And
it.
isn't there an aspect of like, if guys, not just HRT, but like if guys hop on steroids in general, they can gain a lot of muscle fast, but the connective tissue doesn't grow nearly as much as muscle grows, and that can lead to tears, rips, correct?
I mean, a lot of times when somebody gets like a pec tear, people are like, "Oh, see, he's on shit." They'll go that far. I think that's probably too far.
You think so?
I mean, I tore my bicep. Natty.
That was like
but
all the comments, right? They were like, "Oh, it's because you're on steroids."
Yeah. But to the point, it is a lot less likely for you to tear a pec. I mean, especially on like a bench press, like it's a lot less likely that you're going to be so strong, but yet other parts of your body aren't going to be prepared for them, and you're going to tear something. So, I don't know, but it's, I don't know, like hamstrings and stuff like that. There's other body parts where it's like, well, that's really common. For someone to pull a calf muscle is insanely common. For someone to tear an Achilles, unfortunately, even though it's a big one, that's a really common injury. But a pec injury on a bench press, I think that, you could raise eyebrows where you're like, maybe that guy's on some stuff.
Form was just complete dog shit. People
do need to just be careful though, so anybody that is going to embrace TRT or get on cycles of anything, you still have to progress slowly. You got to take your time, and you're gonna be all fired up because things are gonna feel better. But the last thing you need is to get hurt. When you get hurt, you get reduced to nothing. It doesn't allow you to do the things that you love. Yeah. And you just do not want to end up in that territory.
Devastating.
That's kind of what I'm thinking of, because like when guys hop on, like you mentioned, Josh, didn't necessarily ramp up your volume, but some guys, when they do, they're like, time to double the volume. Like you feel like Superman, and then you start trying to work with way more weight, and maybe the muscles are growing, but...
Yeah, I mean, looking at Josh's program, it's hard. Don't get me wrong. Some days are really hard, but if it was up to me, I would do more, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah. That's pretty wild, because I've done his program before, and I called him like crying. I was like, I can't handle this. Too much work.
This is too much fun.
Yeah, it gives you a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Andrew, take us on out of here, buddy.
All right, make sure everyone stick around for Smelly's tip once we get done here. But thank you everybody for checking out today's episode. Please drop some comments down below. Let us know what you guys think about today's conversation. Hit that like button on the way out, and subscribe if you guys are not subscribed already. Sorry, I just sneezed and now my throat's all jacked up. Follow the podcast at MB Power Project on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. My Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter is at I am Andrew Z. Nsima, where are you at?
Discord's below at Nsima Inyang on YouTube and Nsima Inyang on TikTok and Twitter. Smokey?
Steven Granzella is my name, if you didn't know that.
What?
But my Instagram is lil Smokey ST.
Lil Smokey.
Lil Smokey. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. This is awesome.
Best employee I ever had. Thank you so much. It was probably the hardest thing I ever had to do, is to let you go. That was really brutal, because we're friends, we're boys, but I wanted to tell you that you made it easy, because you're a fucking classy dude, and you're somebody I got a lot of respect for. I admire you a ton, and appreciate it. But that was a really fucking hard day to let go of one of your good friends. The tip of the day for Smelly is to get around like-minded people. Get around people that are good, get around people that are like-minded, that are savages, that want to go to battle with you, that got your back, like my boy Smokey over here. It'll make a huge difference in your life. Strength is never weakness, weakness never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.